Hey guys, welcome back to this little extra video. As I mentioned in the last one, I want to show you a couple of things here that are going to be really cool. So here we go. This is just the basic element. I'm going to just remodel it real quick. Just start with a cylinder right here. I'm going to move the cylinder into position, make it slightly bigger with scale. And then I'm going to press shift, right click, face, click, shift, double click on the other sides. Control E to extrude these guys out. I'm just going to extrude. And I'm going to say keep faces together off. And now I'm going to offset this into a very small number. And I'm going to, use this little square here, the red square, to push it and create this sort of like spiky thing. There we go. Center P with delete history, freeze transformation. Let's rotate this 90 degrees, right about there. I mean, if you want to, we could do like a hole in there, but that's fine. Let's just leave it like this for now. And what I want to show you is how could we animate this very quickly in a very cool way and then duplicate that animation, because you might have noticed, probably you haven't tried it before, but if we try to duplicate an object that has animation, the animations do not duplicate. They're not copied. So I'm going to show you how. So first, let's animate this guy. So I'm going to start in frame 1. Let's go to frame 20. And in 20 frames, he's going to do 360 degrees of a turn. So it's going to be quite fast, right? Probably a little bit, let's go a little bit less fast. Like, there we go. That's better. Now, as what we talked about before, this animation right now is not linear. So just grab this thing, make it linear, and there we go. So now we're going to have this animation right here. Like this guy is going to constantly be rotating through 40 frames. It's going to do 360 degrees, and then it's going to stop. Now, I don't want him to stop. I want this thing to continue. So what can we do? Of course, we can go to the graph, rotation, grab this guy, and say curves, post infinity, cycle. But I'm not going to say just cycle. In this case, I'm going to say curves post infinity cycle with offset. So the cycle is going to repeat itself and it's going to keep adding up. So instead of finishing at 360, we're just going to keep going. But it's going to be the same cycle. So now, no matter how long this animation is, we're always going to have this thing like just rolling around. Now, if I want to add a little bit more like dynamics to this, why not animate a little bit of a wobble here, right? Like, let's start on frame 1 and we're going to have a, well, we already have this. So I'm just going to go to frame 20. Or actually frame 40, yeah, frame 10, and I'm gonna wobble to the right. I just want to wobble on the y-axis. I'm not sure why it's wobbling everything. Let's go world. There we go, on the z-axis. I'm going into the world mode, so we're gonna wobble like 5 degrees to the left. And then on frame 20, we're going to go back to our origin, 0. And then on frame 30, we're going to wobble 5 to the right, like this. So now we got this, right? Like this thing wobbles one side and the other. And again, we can go to the graph editor, grab our rotate C. And this thing I'm going to say curves. In this case, is a cycle. We just want a normal cycle. And we can grab this guy and we can say just like smooth the cycle. That's weird. Why do we get that? Do we need an offset as well? I think we need an offset. So curves, post infinity cycle with offset. There we go. That should work. No, it's wobbling out of control. Now let's go back. It was a cycle. We just need to make sure that this thing is nicely working here. So I'm just gonna grab this curve right here. I'm just gonna polish it so that we match the curve as nice as possible. This happens because the first and the last frame are not the same, although they should be. Oh, yeah, right. Just forgot that. There we go. So now we just spline this thing again, or spline here. There we go. And now this is a normal cycle, so this thing is gonna be wobbling from left to right, to infinity and beyond. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the scales, because we haven't animated the scales, right click, and I'm just going to break connections. So now the scale has no connections. I'm going to grab the object now. Let's call this obstacle. And I'm going to go into edit, duplicate a special, and I'm going to say this thing. I'm going to, oh, where is it? I'm going to duplicate a special. And I want a copy. There we go. And it's very important that we duplicate this input graph. Okay. Very, very important. So now when we hit apply, we're going to have another obstacle. And again, we can break the connection that translates because we're not using them. But it has the exact same animation. they're both moving at the exact same time, which is exactly what we want, right? Now we can do it once more. So I'm going to hit apply. Just move this guy to the left. And just to give a little bit more visual interest, of course, we could scale them because scale was not, what's the word, compromised by the animation. We don't have any animations on scale. We can like move these things around. We can't rotate though, because that's going to affect the animation. But now we have these three things doing a very nice, cool rotation here. Here's another factor, another thing we can do. If I grab this guy and I go into the graph editor, I can grab the rotations here and I can offset them a couple of frames. The cycle is still going to be respected, but the offset is going to be a little bit different. And now they're not going to be rotating at the same distance. It's the same rate, but technically it's a different distance. One way we could like measure it would be to like, I don't know, like grab a couple of these frames and maybe make this guy a little bit like wonkier. Like maybe not all the tooth of this like saw blade are at the exact same distance. Same with this, like I don't know, like let's move this guy like this. Like maybe it's not a completely spherical. It's still gonna turn around like if it was a complete sphere or a full sphere, but it's not gonna be one. And now if we take a look at this, you're gonna see that they're rotating at different intervals. And again, we do our animation normally, like we complete the jump normally, and then we can add as many crazy things that we want, and people are gonna think that we were super cool and we animated everything based on the obstacles themselves, when in reality it's the other way around, right? Like we animated the character first, and then we added the obstacles. Now some of you might be wondering, could we add another one of this, like back here, so that every time he makes a stride we get that? And the answer is yes. We can just grab this guy, edit, we duplicate the special again, and again, since movement's not compromised nor is scale, we can just grab this guy in here, and that way that guy is gonna be just like moving around, and the character should be jumping across the element, right, on each of the strides. Maybe smaller ones. We could do like really small ones like this, so that when he steps on some of these things, it looks like he's actually like moving across, right? Something like this. There we go. So now, another big question some of you might have. Well, let's see. Can we add more of them? Yeah, we can add a couple more there, and it might look cool. You don't duplicate, because if we duplicate, as you can see, this one just lost all of the connections. So all of this still have the animations, but this one that we just duplicated, we lost the connections to the input graph, and therefore we lose our animation. So anytime you want to do any sort of animation like this, make sure you do a duplicate special. Again, over here, edit, duplicate special, and you need to make sure that you select this duplicate input graph. That way, the information that you're getting is going to be the exact same information that you have on the animation, and all of the elements are going to be the same. This motion trail we don't need anymore. We can use Alt-1 to turn off our curves, as we already know, and we can either play blast or render or do whatever we want with this animation. So that's it, guys. That's pretty much it. I think we can add one more animation here to the guy, because that pose is really weird. So let's just like bring him back to like a more traditional stance like that. There we go. So let's take a look. There we go. That looks way better. So hopefully you've liked this exercise, guys. This is the end of module 3. We're now going to jump on to module 4, where we're going to be seeing a full character animation. So that's going to be quite fun. It's definitely going to take a little bit more time. As you can see, animations are taking a little bit longer and longer. The bouncing ball, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This guy, 30, 40 minutes, depending on how long you take on doing the poses. And little by little, animations get more complicated. So now it's time to jump onto a full character. We're going to be using Boney, as I mentioned before. So get ready, and I'll see you back on the next video. Bye-bye.